Welcome everyone on this new episode of Let's Talk AI. I'm super happy to be here today with Ángel Sáenz de Cenzano. Ángel, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Thomas.
First of all, let me thank you for being on the show and taking the time to share with us. That means a lot. You have a very impressive career, and I have many questions. But before teasing a little bit and sharing more, for the people who might not know you, could you introduce yourself in a few words?
Okay, so my name is Ángel, as Thomas already said, working for the last 4 years and a half in LinkedIn as country manager for Spain and Portugal. Before that, had a long tenure at Microsoft, 16 years. And before that, like 5 or 6 more years. So now you can make the calculation. Working for different, typically American software companies as well in that internet boom and .NET boom. Personally, I'm married. I have 4 children. I'm a very normal guy. I like sports. I like reading. I like traveling as anybody else. So not very original there. If I may be original, would be around my dedication to the gastronomy industry and the gastronomy as a passion, mostly as a passion. And as well as small anecdote I can disclose, I'm a sneakers collector. I love them. I use them every day, and I have like many, too many in for my wife's dismay. But I like that one. I like that one.
Thanks again for the retrospective. And so I'm always super curious about the state of the art of the guests, and by that I mean, what are you currently trying to achieve? So not from a technology perspective, but maybe like your mission, like what serves you as a drive, and where are you moving towards to?
That's it's a good question. So yeah, after 4 years and a half, it's like a good tenure already to pause and to
Mm,
think about exactly what you have asked. What's next? What should I do next?
mhm,
What can I really give from myself to the company in the future terms? So my plan is to stay for a little bit longer in the company.
mhm,
But certainly, I need to kind of understand and what we can do in the following 2, 3, 4 years, and
mhm,
maybe even reframe my uh, let's say the way we do things, the way we do
mhm,
things as well, and looking a little bit to steps ahead. Of course, I'm curious with myself on what's next. I mean, I think for my age and my also my vocation, I still have like at least one nice next shot on an opportunity, and I don't know how it will look like. To be very honest, I don't know. I have my my do's and don'ts or my preferences, so to say,
mhm,
but they're not super crystal clear yet. Again, as I'm not like in a moving moment now.
mhm.
So to summarize, I will continue maturing about what should be next after LinkedIn, and as today, and looking into the next 2 3 years, understanding well what should be or could be my contribution to the company and to the team.
Mm. I see. Okay, so speaking about your contribution, so your role today, as of LinkedIn, is country manager Spain in Portugal.
Correct.
So from my understanding, this is like CEO of Spain in Portugal. First of all, is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't have such denomination. Like our
Hmm.
CEO is a single one, and only one
Hmm.
in the US, Ryan
Hmm.
Roslansky, and
Hmm.
yeah, we call it country manager.
Mm. Awesome. And so, out of curiosity, and for the people who are listening, what does this role means, and if you can share maybe what kind of things do you need to get on a daily basis regarding your role.
Mhm. Okay, so we do have four line of businesses, three line of businesses plus the fourth one at LinkedIn.
Hmm.
I lead one of them, the talent one, talent solutions. Okay,
Okay.
so my functional role is leader of talent solutions in Spain and Portugal.
Okay.
So I don't lead the advertising business or the sales solution, which is sales navigator business,
Hmm.
or the editorial team.
Okay.
Okay, they have their own leaders. But at
Okay.
the same time, in a kind of typical matricial way of working,
Yeah.
I'm the site leader. So I represent the company in the country, in the ecosystem. I lead the office. So the office things that are not that many are easy to handle.
Mm-hmm.
So I provide that leadership role to the for the company, for the brand.
Mm-hmm.
But from a pure business point of view, I'm leading the talent solutions team. So I need to engage with my partners and on the other ones.
Mm.
On the editorial one, that is a very specific one of our business model
Mm-hmm.
because of the obvious reasons, all the push, the impulse, and the inspiration that we try to bring to the platform. So our members are ultimately the value added contributors and the contributors of content.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I try to put all together all the interests and obligations of the company,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, in terms of representation in the market, external one, with press, with stakeholders, with government, with
Mm.
other clients and partners, I do that representation as well.
Mm. I see. Well, on a daily basis, sorry, a lot of meetings. No, I can imagine.
Yes. So yeah, let's say that I was already used to a kind of stressful agenda coming from the company I was coming from,
Yeah.
but uh, but this role and the activity really required a very structured approach.
Mm.
So what I do, yes, I do have a lot of meetings. Copilot was telling me how many last, like every Sunday, when I connect. But I need to structure the week in certain different spaces.
Okay.
So I devote Mondays mostly to connect with what we call cross-functional partners,
Mm-hmm.
which is so here in Spain, I don't have, for example, marketing, operations, HR, finance, all those, let's say, staff roles are based typically in Dublin, where we have
Mm-hmm.
a very big hub. My boss as well is in Dubai, so 6 hours to the other side, or 4 hours,
Mm-hmm.
4 hours. And so that requires certain, let's say, consistency in the way that you connect with them online.
Mm.
And I devote mostly Mondays. Then Tuesdays is about business housekeeping, so internal meetings about how business is going with my
Mm-hmm.
directs, with some other people, because it's the forecast day. Every week
Mm-hmm.
we upload or we send forecast to our business leaders. Then on Wednesdays I have the business meeting with
Mm-hmm.
my boss and my peers in the morning, and then mostly the rest of Wednesdays and Thursdays I try and normally get there. I try to get external connections, customers,
Okay.
again partners, stakeholders, but
Yeah.
being a little bit more external focus. So it would
Mm-hmm.
be 2 days more internal stuff, 2 days more external, and Fridays is a little bit random.
Mm.
Fridays is probably the day in which I put things ad hoc when I need. And sometimes I put the one-on-ones with my team. It's a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more relaxed day in terms
Yeah.
of stress and back-to-back meetings,
Sure.
or I just try to catch up, or I just try to cut the day by lunchtime on Friday, which is a good habit as well that I
Mm-hmm.
somehow or sometimes can afford. Okay, so
Mm.
so the thing is that not being this structured maybe a little bit too much in theory, but if you don't go there, then it gets super crazy. It gets absolutely unmanageable, and
Yeah.
especially when there's it's a hybrid working way as well, because I have virtual meetings. Of course, I have many, but I also have physical ones that require commutes, etc.
Mm.
So unless unless you are a little bit rigorous and you get lost. You basically get lost. I have help. I have the luxury of having one person helping me on that, my EA, and she's the guardian and keeping me honest on doing things in the right way in terms of agenda and in terms
Mm-hmm.
of presence and in terms of communication, etc. So, well, now I'm super used to that. So now I see it super natural. I
Yeah.
don't travel too much. When I travel, obviously I need to adjust all this agenda. If I
Yeah.
travel, I try to concentrate traveling on Wednesdays and Thursdays as well, better
Mm-hmm.
days to travel. and that way I don't incur into collapsing the internal agenda. More or less, that's the way I do.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, thanks again for sharing this organization. It's very interesting, and it can really show how you manage and balance time. Awesome. So you talked about different very interesting things, and one that I would like to target is you working directly with the different teams, maybe different C-level executives. And like, how do you align the vision, the goals, and the teams? So we understand the agenda, but now what, like, how do you approach it? How do you align with C levels
Hmm.
or other executive in the firm? And now at LinkedIn, or previously at Microsoft, or all your other experiences, do you have like insights to share regarding that?
So, but you mean more internally or externally with executives and C-level externally, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
both interest me a lot. Maybe we can do internally first, and then like stakeholders
Yeah,
externally and so on.
internal is pretty straightforward, and I would say pretty simple. At least uh, uh, compared to my previous life at
Yeah.
Microsoft, where it was a really massive organization, very complex, matricial at every level, etc. So this one is pretty more simple. So I
Mm,
have a direct manager, a manager of that manager in EMEA. Then I have a let's say a country manager's leader as well in EMEA,
mm,
seated in London. And from there, then we go to the US, where we have a leadership team that is pretty accessible, and we get bi-weekly meetings with them. We can
mm,
talk, speak up. So it's very accessible.
mm,
The C level, let's say, or my management team up on the pipeline,
mhm,
quite frequent as well. And on that end, I mean, and being already a 20,000 employee company, which is not small, it for me it's like easy to understand, easy to manage. Communication is super clear. We have company connects every 2 weeks, which is a very
mm,
perfect space. It's not from a timing point of view, it's not perfect because it's 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, so you
mm,
need to save that time, but you do it happily.
mm,
And so that is really supernatural. Supernatural is we are extremely informed and extremely connected to the things that are
mhm,
going on in the company. We have a culture of a lot of transparency as well on things. It's obvious
mhm.
that not every time everything can be transparent,
Yeah.
because sometimes things are like in the oven,
Mm,
but it's very natural. The profiles and the approach and the ways of working of these persons are very natural, very
mhm,
aligned with the company. They are all of them. One of the characteristics of the leaders at LinkedIn is that the tenures are pretty long.
mm,
So typically, people that have been 6, 8, or 10 or 12 years in the company at least.
mhm,
So they are experts. They are experienced people, again, seasoned people, and I learn from them daily. So that one
mm.
is very natural and fruitful for me, profitable for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Externally, we have two, let's say, two flavors.
Okay.
One of them, let's say, like the C level or executives that which we have business relationships, pure business relationships,
Right.
where our relationship is very typical as any other solutions or software vendor. Like
Mhm,
we try to demonstrate value, demonstrate we care about them, we want to be partners, not only, let's say, providers, and that's the main conversation, so to say. And the second flavor would be all the C level people that are not directly connected to our daily business,
mhm.
but are genuinely curious about what we do as a
Yeah.
platform.
Okay.
Because for all of them, it's also a platform in which they can communicate, they can be present, they can be adding value, they can be connecting with customers, with employees. So with that, we have that uh, opportunity and that beauty of also being interesting even for not business stakeholders.
Mhm.
That requires dedication. It requires understanding well what's the value that we provide to those executives and understanding well how we can increment or how we can upgrade not I mean that curiosity to a little bit more active or let's say action prone activities. I
Yeah.
don't know if I explained me well, but my aim with that group of executives is to really inspire them and make them understand what else can they do with us,
Yeah.
and that would be good for them and good for us, of course, trying
Hmm.
to go to a win-win situation. And just to close, I mean, yes, I mean, this position obviously gives us an access, a certain access that is not trivial, that it's a high access and a high frequency as well. So I try to take care of those connections, relationships, and network as well as I can.
Mm, awesome. Thanks. And that's a perfect following up on this external part because so I'd like to ask two things. One, going from the personal brand on LinkedIn, the importance of interacting on LinkedIn and so on, and your personal stake. And on the other side, there is for businesses and for stakeholders or C-level executives that you interact with and maintain long-term relationships. Um, I would like to learn maybe what can LinkedIn offer. So I think for everyone who is listening, we have great ideas of what LinkedIn does, but I'm sure like reframing it or hearing it again is not can be
Mm.
valuable for everyone. So which one do you prefer to go first? Would you like to talk about the personal branding or like how like what can businesses get from LinkedIn at different stages?
So what I would like to say is those two different realities are not disconnected. Okay,
Hmm.
so our network is based on members, on professionals, so
Hmm.
persons, but are ultimately representing their company.
Mm.
So that personal, if we talk about personal brand, some others like to call it professional brand. It's ultimate. I mean, it's easily understandable that it will have an influence of
Yeah.
of the company that we represent. And actually, since I don't know 3, 4, 5 years, we've come from a period in which it was like non well seen by companies that their professionals were active on LinkedIn,
Hmm.
to a situation now which is almost the opposite. So most of the big companies are already trying to put their hands on how we make our employees being our brand ambassadors, our business ambassadors, etc., etc.
Hmm.
So that has put a lot together of the things that a company, a business can achieve on a platform like ours, and what the people can do or should do.
Hmm.
Said that as well, we need to analyze what's the impact that we want to get, which is the business. First of all, sorry, which is the business we are in, what are the possibilities and the chances that we can have
Hmm.
to get benefit of a platform like LinkedIn, just to make our brand, personal and company brand, more powerful, better known, more attractive, more exciting, more current. Okay,
Hmm. Okay.
and depending on the business, the answer is pretty different. So I was just having lunch yesterday with one of my best friends here in Cantabria, where I am now, and he joined like 1 year ago a company in the industry of defense.
Okay.
So for obvious reasons, it's not a company that can easily share a lot of what they do.
Yeah.
Obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
Or let me put another example. Some other friends working in kind of financial business like family offices, etc. Which
Hmm.
what I tell them always is, no, what you need is to earn a lot of money without making any noise. I mean, being as
Mm.
silent as possible. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a different business. It's a different in which probably communicating, sharing what you do is not kind of the best idea or the thing that you can do. You can find angles to almost every business, but it's obvious that the business that are more naturally represented and getting most benefit of our platform are the ones that are more open to say what they do, what people do, what the company do, what's the aim, what's the famous purpose that we're talking all the time lately.
Right.
I'm always like a little bit challenger with the purpose thing. I always say that the purpose of a company is creating value. Is not generating good impact. The good ones create value and generate good impact. Okay,
Mm.
but creating value for stakeholders, employees, and clients is the first
Hmm.
real purpose of any company.
Right.
For the good, in the last 5, 10, 15 years, the society and economy has also put the eye on, okay, but at which expense? So what are we getting, or what's the impact that you are making? And I think
Mhm.
that's perfect and that's really good. But and if we want to call it purpose, we can. So it's a semantic thing that we're not going to get today in deep on. But
Mhm.
but again, it's something as well that the company is trying to really expose and really communicate. And there's a kind of battle, competitive battle, in almost every industry, on
Mhm.
which company can brand and position themselves as more technology advanced, environmentally responsible, I mean, diverse in terms of the work, open culture. So, and when I say battle, let's forget battle. It's a competition. Competition is probably better aspect, and it's going on not only on our platform, but as well on our platform, and has really transformed the reality of what should be, can be done and can be achieved or not at LinkedIn. It's not anymore a portal of employment, or a board of resumes. It's not even anymore only a place of value and sharing of content, which is as well. Is not only a platform for networking, which is as well. It's a little bit a combination of everything that makes it, we believe, more attractive and more natural for the companies and the professionals to be in. And again, and I close with this: said that, it's obviously on everybody, on anyone's will and understanding of what they do, if they use it more intensively or not. And of course, we respect all the approaches, and we understand that we don't want anybody to be 10 or 12 hours daily in our platform. That's not the way, but
Hmm.
we try to be a good place for opportunities.
Awesome. And speaking of opportunities and these individual and business perspectives, do you have valuable tips? So I know it's hard because it depends on each business, but
Hmm.
maybe for individuals it's easier. Do you have some tips maybe for companies and individuals regarding personal branding around how to best use the platform? I think we could do an entire episode on this question, but maybe you have some nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah, of course. We try. So yeah, there's some kind of, let's say, transversal ones. Okay.
Okay.
So again, with the caveat that depending on the kind of business, there could be different.
Hmm.
But the typical things that we say. So try to balance your personal approach and the brand approach and the professional approach. So you'll be interesting for both. You'll be providing and creating value in both aspects. Try
Hmm.
to find the space in which you can find the intersection of what you can give, what you can provide, and
Hmm.
what your network would find valuable.
Hmm.
Okay, so you need to
Okay.
understand your network first of all, understand who's on the other side, and try to find. I mean, to this people that is going to be probably diverse. It's not linear, but to my community, what could be valuable? What can I present, and how can I present it? Also putting something of me. I mean, presenting my perspective of the matter of the topic. Okay,
Hmm.
and doing that, so understanding what we can offer, doing it naturally and personally and with certain level of authenticity,
Hmm.
that should work. That should work, because that, if you kind of follow that, you are really, I mean, giving the best that you can have in the best way that you can have, and you will,
Hmm.
and you can have this impact or this impact. But that's the way. Two more things. Try to be constant.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to go about the frequency. The frequency depends on your willingness to spend more time or less time. You can do it weekly, 2 times a week, one time a month. I don't know, but be constant and understand that your impact, your community, and the impact you provide is going to be uh, uh, growing, a growing pattern. But it's not
Hmm.
like peaks and lows. Okay, so it
Right.
requires constancy and and again, and being that kind of predictability. Last but not least, be generous. I mean, try to understand if what you're doing also provides benefit to the community and to the society,
Hmm.
if I may, even being very aspiring to. to be there, but it's good. Also, obviously, people embraces and understands and and values more the content that is given generously. And typically, we say that being generous in the platform most of the times gets you most of the time you get a return on that generosity and the things that you put on the platform. So that would
Yeah.
be, I think that's most of it. The general ones, again, they're very general. Now, use different formats. Try. So we always say we are an opportunity network. This is not an entertaining network,
Okay.
but let's try not to do things too boring. Okay, so let's try to combine
Mm.
formats. You can use video, you can use audio visuals. Let's try to be visual. Okay, for the people, we
Yeah.
nobody is willing to spend 10 minutes reading something, like super black over white. So let's try to combine that. Again, we're not an
Yeah.
entertainment platform, but we try to make the time that people spend on our platform a little bit, amusing.
Yeah, and that one is very interesting. Like not an entertainment platform, but package the content and the message that you want to distribute in interesting ways. I think
Exactly.
that's a very that's one of the tips that you shared that really interests me. I can see different ways of approaching and improving, for example, my own communication. Awesome. Okay, so I would like to ask you about a few more questions. So the one going you mentioned in the backstory when you shared different key moments, you at some point you ended up leading a technical team without technical
Hmm.
background,
Hmm.
and so I'd like to relate that with recent advancements in AI and the technology offers of LinkedIn. So how was it first of all to manage a technical team without this background, and like what challenges and lessons you learn from that, and further on, how does the latest AI and advancements or technologies that are state of the art affect LinkedIn, and how do you keep up with all those changes?
Hmm. So for the first one, it was really interesting, really fun, and I got a lot of. Beyond the obvious adjustment, both sides, beyond the obvious stereotypes
Hmm.
of using black t-shirts and sneakers, which was the case sometimes, also for me.
Hmm.
Beyond that, it was really interesting. So we both of us, my technical team and myself, we needed to find our space.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, so how can I help
Yes.
this team, these guys? What can I put on the table? What can I give them? What kind of experiences that I have had and the approach that I can provide can help this team to be successful. At the same time, understanding that many of the things that they were doing daily, I didn't even understand them. Okay,
Yeah.
so but having also confidence and trust in what they were doing was important. On their side,
Hmm.
it was better than I was expecting. So not only the full experience, but when I joined, it was like, well, they will naturally push back and reject a leadership like mine because I'm
Hmm.
not one of them typically.
Hmm.
But they were nice guys, boys and girls, and they also made a good effort in understanding exactly that what kind
Hmm.
of benefit they could get from having me there, and the other way
Hmm.
around, continuously understanding what's the value that they were providing to the organization. It worked well, Thomas. So again, initially I was like, question mark. How this is going to work? And actually, even my manager at the time, the president of Microsoft in Iberia, was like, "Are you going to really make it?" So well, let's try. Let's see. So
Hmm.
in retrospective, it was for me. It was a brilliant period. It was 2 years. It was not too long, but not too short, and gave me a lot. And I hope that I also gave some things to the team, and I helped them developing and growing a little bit as well.
Hmm.
So that's one. The other one was more. The second one was more about AI and technology and how is that let's say present in our life, in our platform. So well, let's see. Trying to be brief and to be crisp. So look, in November 22nd, when all the OpenAI thing happened, that big
Yeah.
boom, I
Hmm.
was like, I mean, I was asked very, very quickly, like press, everybody. So what's going on here? What is LinkedIn going to do about this, or what's? And I was like, well, there's nothing new for us. There's nothing to see here. I mean, we've been working with AI since ever, almost since our first day. We
Yeah.
are a 21-year company. It's not exactly true, but it was not the first day, but probably year two or something like that.
Hmm.
And reality is that today, at that moment, actually, we had between 600 and 700 different AI services in all our
Okay.
platforms. Okay, it's not bad. So we've been really working with algorithms, obviously, mostly looking for relevancy and trying to find the right connections for the right people at the right moment. That was what AI was helping us doing. Okay, and at that time, in November 22nd, I was like, well, for us, it's business as usual. We will continue taking advantage of the
Hmm.
technology. But I was wrong. I was, as many other times, I was completely wrong, actually. And I very, very soon learned, like 1 year ago, yeah, spring 2023, that there was a lot of
Hmm.
big changes coming also for us.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
Because we are not stopping using technology in general and AI for that kind of services, algorithm, etc. But we are now, as some other vendors in their own spaces, and we are doing in ours, we're really turning it around and giving our members and clients the ability to work with Gen AI tools for making them more
Yeah.
productive and successful. So we are not
Mm.
changing the aim, but we are changing the way we can do that. Easy examples.
Mm.
So in the advertising space, we are helping them through campaign generation, automatic campaign generations based on AI
Mm.
services.
Okay.
In the talent space, we are giving AI capabilities for the recruiters so they can be more agile, fast, and accurate in finding the right people with
Hmm.
natural language, etc., etc. I'm not going to go in deep. Or in our learning platform, we are providing a learning coach by which you are not going to be alone navigating 20,000 courses, but you're going to, for example, provide a goal or set a goal
Mm.
with
Yeah.
the coach and get advice on which would be the best ways to acquire skills and knowledge to get to that goal. For example, I'm a software developer, but I want to become a sales manager of software. For example,
Hmm.
what can I do? What the learning paths that I should go through? And that learning coach is going to help you on doing that. And
Hmm.
last but not least, uh, the 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 LinkedIn coach that we're going to release. This is already more or less announced, but we don't have a date in the pure flagship for the members.
Mm.
So as today, and let me be super transparent on this one, our search in the platform is not great. Okay, let's leave it
Mm.
there. Let's leave it there. So we want to change that as well. We want
Okay.
to give our members the ability to really navigate that 2 billion, 1 billion, sorry, members and many, many billion daily updates of content in the smartest way possible. Okay. So if you
Mm.
want to know about who's been the best creators of finance content in Indonesia this week, you will be able to ask that. Obviously, this
Mm.
is nurtured and powered by AI and by the data that we have,
Yeah.
which is massive. But as today, digesting that data was very much about trusting the algorithm and trusting that your feed was going to be relevant.
Mm.
But I mean, not all. I mean, we are not linear as people. Sometimes we have different interests.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe now my mind is more in the project, in one project that I'm building, that it's not exactly what I'm doing daily, and the platform is not as intelligent as that. Okay, it's not in
Mm.
our minds. So our minds and our will continue being important, and with the help of those kind of assistants, will be easier, sorry, to really find again the right content at the right moment. So
Awesome.
there's a lot that we are changing that you will begin seeing and
Hmm.
noticing. I think that the evolution and the well, I think uh, we are telling to the market that what we are going to do in the next 2 years is going to really dictate what's going to happen in the next 10 for our platform. Okay, so this 24 and 25 are really pivotal years for us. That connects as well with what I was telling you at the beginning of the conversation around what I was going to do or provide to the company. So I'm also trying to understand how to really make this moment really paramount and special for the company as well in Iberia.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for sharing all those details. I really like the fact that you enhance that AI is not new, and this is something. Well, I believe that everyone who is listening to this podcast knows that, but yeah, it's not a new thing. But the ability to enhance large language models to do more advanced things, I really like the example of the coach, and the overall vision really helped me understand better and navigate better the field. Maybe my last question to you, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to coming on the show and sharing all this knowledge. It is for sure a different type of example of knowledge and with different insights, but I think it is truly valuable and it gives the big picture as you have very interesting experiences with very impressive teams. So my last question would be regarding how do you stay up to date? Like you just mentioned, navigating all this new technology, and this is a struggle for me to keep up to date with everything that's going on. So I can't imagine for you. So my last question would be keeping up to date, and maybe if you have tips about career wise for the agents who's listening right now.
Well, career tips not easy because I don't know exactly all the people that will be hearing, spending some time 1 hour listening to us.
Mm,
Well, now seriously. So how I keep me up to date?
yeah.
That's a good one. So today, what the requirement of this age is to be selective. I mean,
Mm,
there's absolutely massive information all around,
yeah.
massive. We can't afford to digest it, to ingest and digest in either a 1% or a portion of it. So
Hmm.
trying to be smartly selective is the thing I need to do. So for that, I prepare myself with my sources of information. One being LinkedIn. I use some others, press, some other social networks maybe at sometimes,
Hmm.
and trying to be really selective in the network I have. For example, LinkedIn, the people I follow, for example, on X or even on Instagram, I use it randomly, but I kind of use it as well.
Hmm.
And again, the mass media that I follow, because if not, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
That's kind of for keeping updated and up to date on the things that are happening.
Hmm.
How I try to keep myself updated in terms of knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, I am pretty disciplined in spending some time to learn new things.
Mm.
I'm not super like crazy about being super profound on things or being super complete or something like that.
Hmm.
I'm kind of take things of many places, but I'm disciplined in getting a nice portion. I would say kind of 10% of my time is based on learning things
Mm.
structurally on with the aims and the assets that the company provides, but also reading. I don't know, reading any books that I can have at hand or something like that. I read less than I would love to in
Mm.
books. I mean, I do more in vacation period. That's why I have one in hand because I'm in half vacation now,
Hmm.
and and I try, yeah, I try to do that, but I don't get paranoid about it. Believe me.
Mm.
So being curious enough, I'm curious enough. I know that. So that's one of my characteristics. So that helps me. I think that without special effort to devote time and use time to listen to people, to hear people, to read a little bit, to pick from here and there. So No, I mean, not super, not super strange, no, not
Hmm.
super rocket science,
Hmm.
but it's what I do. I certainly ask also my teams and the people around me to be same curious and try to understand the others, be empathic with the others, one understanding and learning, and I think that's something that beyond helping you getting that up to date, it's also the best way to really connect and impact with
Mm.
people, right? To try to be present, to share things, to receive things, to be open, to be curious enough, not to be only looking to an Excel sheet or a programming whatever. Okay, that's
Mm.
more or less it.
Awesome. Well, amazing. Yeah, that gives a key important. I think my takeaway is very deep listening skills to learn from others and making sure you take time to continuously learn new things, even though you won't be measuring it so much. But you just make sure you're keeping your learning and learning and growing on a continual continuously. Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, Angel, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. I learned a ton of things. I want to thank you again for coming on the show, and I wish you to have an amazing day.
Thanks so much, Thomas. It was my real pleasure to be here with you and your audience. Bye bye.